Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, GuMPers.
Bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show live stream and the podcast. How are you this morning? Yes, 2 podcasts, remember. The full extravaganza of 90 minutes. This show as audio, doing it to you in your ears. And also the Portugal quiz and Try Something Portuguese mini podcast as well, if this is all a bit too much. For you in one sitting. I would love to hear from podcast listeners, actually. Oh, I haven't done a banner. It's Feelgood Friday, of course. I haven't done a banner. But yeah, I'd love to hear from you, podcast listeners, what you like and don't like about the podcast. And I would like to remind you that the GuMPer dust at the beginning, may I invite you to really enjoy that as you are showered in GuMPer dust as the podcast opens up. Maybe sit back and enjoy that and feel your endorphins and whatever they are, those good hormones rushing around your body when you hear this. It works for me. So muito obrigado. In the absence of a banner telling you what's happening today. Actually, I don't think I've got a banner big enough to tell you what's happening today. We are having a bit of Feelgood Friday fun this morning. All sorts to talk about. Hot weekend coming in Portugal. Got poetry to share and read with you. Lots of a bulging sack this morning of correspondence, pictures and videos. And I might even see if anybody wants to call in or even be on the screen with me this morning. A few serving suggestions for the weekend ahead and a few loose ends to tie up as well. And of course, a visual dad joke warning already from the slug. Should we get that out of the way? It's like, should we pinch our noses and take that medicine straight away this morning? Let's see what... Actually, no, before we do that, I will add it to the picture deck and let's just see who's in this morning. I want to tell you about this great weather that's forecast for the weekend. Frank and I are off to the beer festival. We'll tell you more about that as well. A week yesterday, the GuMPer trip to the schist villages and the Berão factory. What was it called? The Berão Nectar Production Suite. I can't remember what T-Duck called it. But we're heading off there next Friday as well. So much going on. And we're looking forward to a new, the next weekend, the next Portugal Discovery weekend in Tamar on the 14th and 15th of October as well. So lots of things, just as you thought it was getting quiet and we were going into the cold winter that the Portuguese prefer not to speak about. No, it just seems like we are carrying on with our festa-based feelings and having a good time right up until Christmas. And maybe then we'll go into a national denial of colder weather, damp conditions until spring comes again. That is how the Portuguese roll, I think, with winter, isn't it? Just let's not talk about it. A bit like Bruno, we don't talk about winter here in Portugal. We just keep quiet about it and hope that spring will return soon. Okay, so who is in this morning? And if you feel like supporting the show, the method for doing that, and also the rationale behind it is scrolling on the bottom of the screen there. Pam's in, Owen's in, poetry from Owen, Chris Smith. Morning all, happy Friday. Thank you very much, Chris. Good to see you. Lovely to see you at the meetup. And Joyce. Deagle was in earlier on with Bon Dia, Carl and GuMPers from a blue sky, 11 degree Belfast. To be wet later, but should improve by Sunday. 3 12-hour shifts. My goodness, Deagle. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then Portugal, going to be very warm, 20 degrees plus every day. Good for you, mate. It sounds like you might be looking forward to it. Coach Turner, bon dia, meus amigos. The weekend beckons, so I hope you have something exciting planned. Mrs. T arrives home from Amsterdam this evening. Hope she's got you a nice present. What is what are the great presents from Amsterdam that you can actually bring through customs? I wonder. Pair of clogs. How about that? If you turn up at your next Masters sprinting fixture and you've got clogs on, that will really psych out your opposition. Change at the last minute into your running shoes, but turn up in Dutch clogs, maybe eating Dutch pancakes. I wonder what Mrs. T is going to be bringing you from the Netherlands. Or are you one of those people who still calls it Holland? I'm never quite sure what to do with that. Is it wrong to call it Holland? What is the distinction there for those who know? I think we are heading back towards Scandinavia this morning, thanks to Suze, and Mr. S was talking about Scandinavia as well. So we've got a few bits and pieces from Northern Europe this morning. We'll return to those, and you're of course looking after a couple of the grandchildren tomorrow. That's part of your weekend. We'll come back to your God Squad tip of the day, mate, in just a minute. Bom dia a todos. Feliz sexta, putting the sex into sexta-feira. Como está from James. Let's get his dad jokes out of the way. A couple of barrel scrapers, no doubt. One day, I'm going to start collecting highlighters. Mark my words. Right, okay, thank you very much for that. A good old forehead slapper. And where's your other one gone? Oh, here it is. I'll bring it onto the screen now. Thank you very much for this. I'll talk you through it, podcast listeners. Number one, have you ever? Oh, this is a Star Trek based, new Star Trek. Bald generation, is that what it's called? With that fella in, not James T. Kirk, or is he James? I mean, he's James T. Kirk, but a different actor. And Trekkie fans will be going crazy. How can you not know this stuff, Carl? Next thing you'll be saying is you haven't seen Star Wars, which I haven't. Probably I've not concentrated through the whole feature-length film of Star Wars. I've seen bits. I get the gist, and I do really like bits of it. One of my favorite analogies for mankind is the bar scene. But I just can't keep my focus when it comes to things like Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, Star Wars, blah, 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 etc., etc. Anyway, while you Trekkies and what are the other ones are called? What are Star Wars fans called? Apart from Star Wars fans, while you're reeling from that shock, let me just treat you to a dad joke visual. Number one, have you ever tried blindfolded archery? No, sir, is the response. And you can see he's bracing himself already almost, isn't he? You don't know what you're missing. Oh, yes. No, that's good. Thank you. That's made me cough all over it, all the technology here. Brilliant. And number one, have you ever tried blindfolded archery? No, sir. You don't know what you're missing. Hey, yeah, very good. Thank you very much, James. What are you up to? Oh, James, just especially for you, it is the weekend. It's something called Saturday and Sunday are happening tomorrow, and then we'll see you on the Monday after that. So you've had your weekend warning, just in case anyone says to you, "What are you doing this weekend?" That's what they're talking about these next 2 days that are coming up, mate. Oh my word, Andy Klein, I have an inferiority complex, but it's not a very good one. Jean-Luc Picard, not Kirk. Is that what he's called in the show? Jean-Luc Picard. Okay, right. How did they make that work in the script? Did they just say, okay, James T. Kirk is dead, the captain's dead, long live the captain? Here's another one, is Jean-Luc Picard. James, I wonder, do I need to go on a course to or maybe I should just watch it? Not go on a course, but just watch the damn thing. Okay, God's God tip of the day then. I mentioned improving technique a couple of days ago, and as a subset of that, posture. Being a bit taller than average, I have a habit of stooping over and rounding my shoulders. Now, this is a very interesting feature. Oh, it's all right, it's just a cat moving in the garden. I have something to say on this matter of tall men stooping. Well, I've actually had the pleasure of knowing quite a few tall friends. I don't know if I have more than average amount of tall friends, and this is a thing, isn't it? And of course, when they talk to me, I'm what, 5'10", something like that. So if they are talking to me, they will have to stoop a little bit, I guess. And it is interesting, isn't it, how that happens, how tall men, tall women as well, of course, and probably it's even a bigger issue for women, perhaps, feel the need to come down to everyone else's level, actually, and maybe metaphorically as well. And then the stooping can begin, can't it, for the rest of their lives? And I've often thought to myself, that some of my tall friends, are trying to fit into a box or posture smaller than themselves. And why don't they go instead of punching below their weight, so to speak, is punch up and fill that space and be magnificent. I don't think it necessarily. This is quite interesting stuff, isn't it? I suppose politically and socially, psychologically, it doesn't necessarily mean that anyone else has to feel smaller, although they are, to have somebody filling their complete potential. The tall and big people. Why not be magnificent and be a sort of metaphorical example to us all? And of course, this is the other choice, isn't it? Is stooping in and fitting in and getting as small as everybody else. I've always been fascinated by that. I don't know if you have anything else to say on that, Coach Turner, apart from what you're going to say now, which that also means sticking my backside up. Oh, I thought that was just a kind of gesture to the world. I thought that was your version of the Iberian slap. Take that as you stick your backside out. So when I'm out walking, I consciously try to push my backside forward and my shoulders back. There he is, Coach Turner from the Ministry of Funny Walks in Hertfordshire. If you see him thrusting his pelvis forward and bringing his shoulders back in a magnificent gesture. And I think you should just swing your head as though you've got a massive tresses of lustrous hair. So yeah, bottom forward, shoulders back, and a quick, I am so worth it, with a head swish as well, as though you have a magnificent mane of lion-like hair. That'll be him if you see him on the streets of Hertfordshire doing that. Thank you very much for that this morning. A reminder to everyone. I did say this, this is a tired old parental trope, is it not? To say to my son, he's getting used to having a bigger body. That's what happens, isn't it, as you grow up as a kid? And he was slouching at the table. And I remember my mum saying to me, sit up at the table, those sorts of things. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to do that to my son, because I never used to like to hear it. It just sounded like another telling off. And I said to my son, you're getting bigger now, and you look great when you're sat upright at the table, encouraging him in that way. And it worked. It worked. He sat up at the table rather than stooping over. There is, I suppose it's a teenage tendency, isn't it, to curl into your food and have one utensil and just be sort of curled into the bowl of food in front of you. However, why not coach the youngsters into into their magnificence? Seem to work so far anyway. We'll see how that goes over the next few years. By improving your posture, Coach Turner continues, it will gradually become second nature, and you'll avoid strains on your back, and you'll also look better. And a nice firm handshake too while you're about it. Good old-fashioned stuff, Coach Turner. A little pinch of snuff before going into any meeting as well. Why don't we bring back all these marvelous habits? Carry a handkerchief, stand upright, firm handshake. What else could we add to that list? Good morning, Paul and Julie this morning. Good morning, Julie. How are you? How's it going? Are you enjoying your time in the Algarve? Are you drinking from a Bon Dia Alegria mug this morning? So greetings to you, Julie, this morning. And morning to you, Paul. More pictures gratefully received on 913-590-303, especially if they're as wonderful as your Bon Dia Alegria mug that you sent in yesterday. So have a great day in the Algarve, Paul and Julie. Okay, Sweden, Portugal. Thank you for that, Coach Turner. That should set a conversational thread running. Firm handshake, stiff posture, upright posture, pinch of snuff, and a nice clean handkerchief. Bon dia con alegria from Coimbra this morning. Oh, still on the road trip. It will be a quiet week after 1 week on the road. Let's have a look at the pictures you've sent in, and we've got others to catch up on too. Thank you for your wonderful pictures. Ancient Mariner, Andy, the ones that came from Jean yesterday, didn't have a chance to show. And I've got quite a melange of pictures here. I hope these all get credited to the right people. So, Anna, this can anyone guess where this is? So clearly she's gone to this notable town in central, heading towards northern Portugal. Let me take your comment off the screen, and we will see this in its full glory. I think I used to call this a gaydar. Which is something different, isn't it? Of course. But no, can you give me the correct pronunciation of this town, famous for its brollies? We'll come back to that. Beautiful picture. The sense of color there is amazing in that town. A very artistic town that we're talking about there. Are these more brollies from the same place? They may well be. Look at that. I don't remember that street in this same town. Are we looking at Coimbra now? I think we might be, mightn't we? Or is that Porto? Help me, help. Oh, and we've had a request as well. We've got lots of loose ends and threads this morning and ways to help people. Had a question yesterday. Do I know of somewhere in Porto that's a nice, clean place for somewhere for 4 people to stay specifically? Here was the question from yesterday. Hi, Carl. Do you know of a clean place for 4 adults to stay in Porto for a couple of nights and a good wine tour? So your recommendations for wine tours. My first response, actually, for a wine tour was Lonnie's friend, Rafe, who does very good wine tours, as I understand it. And that's his, those are his details and website there. Rafe, hope to get him on the show at some point. So there's your, is that Porto or is that Coimbra on my screen? I do want to say Coimbra. But I might be wrong. There is just to confuse you. That link there for Rafe what? How do I pronounce that? I don't know. But anyway, Rafe's Wine Tours. That's the link for it right there on the screen. And I think we are looking at Coimbra. And we do want somewhere to stay in Porto, just to make things really confusing. More pictures, I believe, from Anna here. Where's this now? Where are we? Oh, no, that's the Ancient Mariner and the Ancient Marinator. That's Agada again, isn't it? And I've given the game away there. So the umbrellas you see are of Agada. Look at that. Marvelous, very photogenic city. And this one, would this be? Yeah, that looks like it might be Coimbra. And a group of students, I think, getting ready to perform. I saw a video of one of these caped students getting quite angry with possibly a tourist or a fellow Portuguese person. Harry Potter really lost it on a video I saw yesterday. This at the other end of the spectrum of being hospitable and friendly towards the tourists here. And this young gentleman, I think, ready to play his cavaquinho or guitarra portuguesa there and a street performance in the Baja of Coimbra. So I'm thinking, yeah, that is a picture of Coimbra there. But you know me, I'm happy to be, well, not happy, but I do get corrected from time to time with incoming updates and corrections to the nonsense I've been speaking on the screen here. Ancient Mariner, thank you very much for those pictures to celebrate your arrival back in the Iberian Peninsula. Here you are. Here's your journey over the recent months. What do you have to say about this, Ancient Marinator? Places I've visited from my boat over the past 12 months. So yes, a full year of traveling through France and northern France, now back down to the Iberian Peninsula and along the coast of good old Blighty. Why is it called that? You'd know, of all people, why it's called Blighty. Wonder if you can help us with that. And a few more pictures from you then this morning. We have firmly ensconced on the Iberian Peninsula, and here is the picture to prove it. What a life. Is it all it's cracked up to be? A life on the ocean wave? It just looks like, I mean, there must be tough times as well. The upsides are pretty clear, aren't they? Drinking a gin and tonic when the sun is past the yard arm and playing backgammon and winning loads of money, playing other backgammon players from the international circuit with your espadrilles and your yacht rock music playing in the background. That's how I imagine it. What's the reality? What are the downsides of a life on the ocean wave? And here we are. Oh, no, that wrong. Back in Agada. There are so many pictures on the picture deck. Do excuse me. Oh, there's another. Is that your boat there or another boat that you're looking at, Ancient Marinator? Do let us know if you will. And a beautiful sunset. There's another upside of your life on the high seas. Beautiful sunsets like that. Do you get one of those every evening? You pretty much, I suspect you do. And you'll get more of those now you're down in the Iberian Peninsula area as well. Thank you, Ancient Mariner, for those. Ahoy! Where are you off to for the weekend? What are your weekend plans? So if you're in Portugal, it is my pleasure to share with you the prospect of some very good weather. And for that, I will go to the Portugal resident article by Michael Brujo that forms part of the slide that we've used today to celebrate the fact that although we're going into October, it's going to be roasting, I think, and very good for us. Me and Frank, that is, going to central Portugal to the Cerveja na Aldeia, the Beers in the Village festival that's being organised by Pete Wilton Davies. He, of course, the guy who created the very first opening sequence of Good Morning Portugal and the whistling. Oh, Baccarat, not backgammon. Or is that the same thing? Or is that what you boaters call it? Baccarat. Not every evening. But as far as and that was a sunrise, not a sunset. Oh my goodness. Is it possible, if you're good with these sorts of things, is it possible to tell the difference between a sunrise and a sunset just by looking at a picture? I guess you need a compass position to be able to do that, don't you? Anyway, before I expose any more of my ignorance, let's go to the Portugal resident and that hot weather warning that's coming up for this weekend. Oh, if you live in London, you might be interested in going to the Portuguese Chamber of Commerce's exhibition there, Moving to Portugal, in association with the resident, and that'll be in London on the 19th of October. And I think they'll be a bit of a heads up. They'll be giving away copies of the Portugal resident over there, and one of my pieces will be in there, and one will be published today. I think it's the Portuguese Paradox today, isn't it? That might be being published today. I'm not sure. It might. It's just the weeks go by so quickly. Anyway, Portugal heat this weekend. Summer heat expected this weekend in Portugal. Brujo writing about this yesterday. Tropical nights also expected in the Algarve. How about that, Deagle? You'll be flying into the wake of that. Maximum temperatures in mainland Portugal will be above 30 degrees from today and could reach 37, around 5 to 8 degrees centigrade above the average for the month of September. Which reminds me of a story that was brought to my attention. The youngsters. Oh, fantastic. We've got a where is this photo from? Pam, that could be anywhere in Portugal, but I will show it to everybody. Yeah. Thank you, Coach, for bringing to my attention the news item of the kids who are bringing the Portuguese government or attempting to bring the Portuguese government to account. It was in The Guardian. Portuguese children sue 33 countries, not just Portugal, over climate change at the European Court. I wonder how that's going to go and what will happen if they are successful in that. So every time I read an article now which says it's going to be above the normal temperatures, of course, my mind goes to that. This generalized rise in temperature accompanied by a decrease in relative humidity for this weekend will contribute to a worsening of the danger of rural fires. There's me thinking, yay, nice warm weekend in Portugal. Here's the doom and gloom that goes with it, of course. What is it? Where did we get to? Yeah, that an increased risk of rural fires, especially in the Algarve and inland regions. So please enjoy the warm weather, but don't leave bottles, glass. Don't do any streaming. Don't do silly things that might cause a fire. Be extra vigilant, especially in the Algarve and inland regions, according to meteorologist Angela Lorenzo from the National Meteorological Institute, IPMA. From Friday, the weather, from today, that is, the weather on the mainland will be influenced by an intense anticyclonic ridge. Who doesn't like one of those first thing in the morning, especially if it brings great weather? Localized over, don't mind me, that's just my anticyclonic ridge. I am pleased to see you over Western Europe, associated with the transport of a mass of hot, dry air originating in North Africa. Are we going to get some sand again? Saharan sand on the vehicles. This episode of hot weather in mainland Portugal will be felt mainly. I thought that said will be felt manly on Friday and Saturday. So far, maximum temperatures close to or over 30 degrees have been recorded in some regions of the country, she said. However, Angela Lorenzo emphasized from Friday and Saturday, there will be a significant rise, which who doesn't like, which means that maximum temperatures, who knew that a weather report would lend itself so well to smut and double entendre and innuendo? Maximum temperatures, particularly in the south and the Tagus Valley, would reach between 35 and 37. Stand by, get ready for that. Hydrate, do whatever you do when hot weather is coming, as well as stripping down to the waist and sparking up the barbecue. These figures are higher than normal for the month of September, although absolute maximum temperature levels are not expected to be comparable to episodes that occurred during the warmer months. The predicted figures correspond to anomalies of up to around 5 to 8 degrees centigrade above the usual averages for this time of year, she emphasized. As far as minimum temperatures are concerned, Angela Lorenzo said that they will rise and nights of 20 degrees centigrade or more may be recorded. So get ready for some tossing and turning, everybody, down in the south. Go down south and toss and turn. This hot weather situation should persist until the beginning of next week. So there you might catch a bit of it. and it'll cool down again before our trip over to Beran and the schist villages, although they'll be cooler anyway, won't they? From then on, there is some uncertainty as to whether this persistence of high temperatures will continue or not. We might have our San Martino summer in November when we have our weekend here. In any case, even if there is a drop in temperature, the figures will remain above average for the time of year, she said. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Michael. And we conclude. Excuse me. We conclude with, if the scenario of the influence of the anticyclonic ridge persists and the episode of hot weather continues for more days, especially in the south, a heat wave could occur. So we might have a heat wave on our hands. Perfect timing for Deagle, of course. And Deagle, toll prices to be cut by 30% on Algarve's A22 motorway. Do you just get a taxi to your hotel and stay there, or do you hire a car when you get here? Or should I just mind my own business? There you go. Hot weather heading this way in Portugal for this weekend. Perfect for me and Frank, who's arriving in San Martino this afternoon. Popping in to see the Perkins, I believe, on the way. Famous GuMPer from the GuMPer Hall of Fame, Neil Perkins. So have a good time, you lads. And I'll see you later on, Frank. And then this weekend, we'll be heading off to this event. Really looking forward to this weekend. Well done, Pete, Wilton Davis. Coming along nicely. I was summoned to a live stream. Well, Garvo said, "Oh, it's not live. We're just chatting." And I was sure it was live because it said so on the screen. No, don't worry. And I was quite off the cuff, candid, not believing myself to be live streaming. Right enough, we were live streaming, and I made quite an inappropriate joke, I think, which I hope Pete took the right way. I'll see when I arrive tomorrow and see the look on his face, whether he took it as a joke, what I said, which might still be on YouTube, or whether he didn't get the joke and he's really offended, and I'm not actually very welcome to the festival. Me and Frank are going anyway, regardless. Craft beer event, Castanera de Pera. It's tomorrow, the 30th. And we will be tasting a few beers, and we'll be taking the outside rig with us. And I believe Philomena will be there as well. So I'm going to get to see Philomena twice in this next 7 days, starting tomorrow at the beer festival. Festival might be pushing it, but I think it's a fairly small scale event. But there will be many lovely beers to try, and of course you'll get a chance to go to Castanera de Pera, which I've done. I've driven through, but I've not really hung out there. So I'm looking forward to that, and hanging out with Pete, hanging out with Frank. Garvo will be there as well. Be a few man cavers, I think, popping in. Should be a lot of fun. Do join us if you can. Right, let's go back to see what you're saying in the chat, in the comments this morning. And of course, we'll put up onto the screen Pam's "Where Is This?" Pam. And read Owen's poem in just a moment as well, sometime this morning. Look, where is this in Portugal? I mean, is that a joke, Pam? I mean, because that could really be anywhere. I mean, I'm thinking, first thought Lisbon, it could be Aveiro, couldn't it? Both Lisbon and Aveiro very, very keen on their calçadas. But then, so many other cities and towns are here in Portugal as well. So is that a special pattern that's peculiar to a particular town? People not being very responsive this morning. No one said, "Oh, Carl, that's Agada and not Agadir." So will you be responding to this, or is that just too much trouble for you this morning? Pam's asking the question, where is this in Portugal? Thank you, Chris, incoming. Do I share that? Interesting juxtaposition of YouTube notifications. I'm not sure I should share that. In fact, I might, because why is that happening, I wonder? At the risk of someone saying, Chris, that just reflects some of the other material Chris watches, I'm going to save you your blushes, my friend. Okay. Hope we didn't get the Saharan dust. I just cleaned the balcony. That's all you have to do. Clean the balcony, and then along it comes. A bit like washing the car, isn't it? Of course. So please don't wash your car. Don't clean your balcony, because that is only summoning up the Saharan dust, everybody. Okay, back to the comments then. Deagle gets a taxi from the airport and uses public buses. We drive on the wrong side of the road in Ireland, so driving in mainland Europe would be too difficult. But with good buses, it's easy getting around. The road to happiness. Castanera de Pera says, Pam, was the first place I stayed in central Portugal before the water park was there. Tell us more about the water park, Pam. Isn't it the biggest in Europe, with a massive tidal wave machine in there? The squiggly pavement is perhaps Nazaré. Thank you very much. It's funny, isn't it? When you have a competition or a quiz, as I do every other day, there are two types of people, aren't there, really, broadly speaking, in this world? People who do quizzes and people who don't, who leave it to the rest of us. May I call your attention, therefore, to the Portugal quiz question of the day a little bit later on? Could you get yourself in shape for that, do you think? I'll give you a quick preview now. It's about toilet paper and Portugal. Can you guess what it might be? And when finding gifts for toilet paper, who knew that there would be so many funny gifts about toilet paper? Here's the first one I chanced upon. A gentleman sat on his lavatory, as others might be, listening to or watching the show this morning, bluting as you might be. There you go. There are some great gifts available online. He's using far too much, that gentleman on the screen there. We'll come back to that Portugal quiz question of the day in a little while. Okay, back to your comments, though, and the poem to come from Owen. And tell us what you're doing this weekend. What are your plans for the weekend? And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you want to tell me in person, you can do that. You can jump on and tell me this morning how you're doing, or you can call in on the WhatsApp line if you want to. If you've been thinking to yourself, why hasn't he did the blooming phone in and then he stopped doing it, I wanted to call in. Well, you can do it this morning. I think the phone's all set up and ready for doing that, as is the link to join me. It's now on the screen, in the chat on the screen for you to join us if you want to call in or be on the screen with us this morning on the live stream of Good Morning Portugal. There it is for you right there, and everyone else will hear a little boop in the background as you join me, and then I bring you on. So make sure you've got clothes on. Okay, thank you very much. We've got an answer to, and I like that. If anyone else wants to send in a picture of Portugal on 913-590-303, do so. And we'll have a bit of quiz fun this morning. Already had an answer, I believe, to that particular bit of calçadas there. And it is peculiar to a particular town in Portugal. I'll give you that. So far, Matty's in, it would appear. Antonio F. also in this morning. A lot of comments to get through. So let's get to them now, shall we? And God's Score tip of the day. That was great about posture. Erect posture, strong handshakes, handkerchiefs, and snuff. The last three of which I added to that. And we've got Anna in Coimbra this morning, and Andy Klein with a good morning, everyone, and a cheeky dad joke as well. Very good. And bon dia todos from Owen. Tenham fantástico fim de semana. And let's read your poem now then, Owen. Thank you so much. You've been working on this for quite some time, and it is an ode to the GMP. So thank you very much for this. I think I should do this justice and have a little bit of a cough before I start reading, and perhaps a sip of water as well. Okay, let me have a sip of water. I'm just going to mute up for a minute. And that gets people's attention as well, doesn't it? What happened? My internet breakdown or something? Or has Munson not paid the bill again? Okay, thank you very much, Owen, for this. And people are familiar with your verse, which you publish, and occasionally a record as well. And you'd be very welcome to come and read this another time as well in your own voice on the show. But I'll do it for you this morning. I'll be delighted to do so. Here we have Good Morning Portugal. So here we go. And thank you, Owen, for this. In dreams of wanderlust, my spirit calls, a yearning to explore beyond these walls, Portugal, a land with treasure untold, where stories whisper in cobblestone unfolds. I close my eyes and see the sunlit shore, the azure waves that mesmerize, and more. From Lisbon's bustling streets that never sleep to Porto's charm, where port wines richly seep. Oh, Portugal, your beauty knows no bounds, a tapestry of history that astounds, with ancient castles rising high and grand, and golden beaches stretching endless sand. The Algarve calls with cliffs and caves so deep, a paradise where restless souls may keep. The rhythm of the ocean's lullaby as seagulls soar beneath a painted sky. Amidst the vibrant tiles of each facade, culture and art entwined, forever awed. A fado melodies fill the evening air, the soul of a nation, heartfelt and rare. Yet doubts arise as questions start to trace the path that leads me to this foreign place. But fear not, for there's Good Morning Portugal, an invitation to discover my travel gal. With every vibrant hue and friendly face, they show a land where elegance finds space from history's embrace to modern delights, a reassuring guide through vibrant sights. So dream no more, my restless heart at ease, for Portugal awaits with open seas, with Good Morning Portugal as my link to make this dream a joyful reality, I think. Nice one, Owen. Thank you very much. I hope that I did that justice. Thank you very much indeed. More encore, old boy. And be good to see you on the screen again soon. Maybe sharing a few of your verses or back in the kitchen. It's been a while, hasn't it? So thank you very much, Owen, for that. Really appreciate you doing that and putting that together for us. More, please. Jean is also in this morning. Olá, bom dia a todos. Feliz sexta-feira. We'll come back to your pictures that we didn't manage to squeeze in yesterday, Jean. Matty's in. Quinta entre Águas. Bom dia, alegria a todos de Pombal Nebulosa. So a bit cloudy for you. Pam was in earlier on, and yes, let's reveal that mystery, shall we? The cobblestones of Nazaré. The wave is the giveaway, is it not? There, and let's go to where you reveal all, Pam, about that. Although I think they're and no, Antonio, clothes aren't mandatory to join the show. It's just for your modesty and to save you any embarrassment. I'm fine with people coming on the show if they want to be naked, as long as it's done in a tasteful and not showy offy kind of way. Like the difference between a naturist and an exhibitionist. There are people who do love to get their kit off and just flaunt it, and there are people who I think are quite intelligent about it and natural about it. It's like, well, it's a perfectly natural thing, the human body. What's the big deal? That sort of nudity would be great. Nice poem in from Bam, and Jess has just joined us as well. So the pavement is Nazaré. There you go. The clue was the beach on the right and the waves pattern of the calçada. There you go. Thank you very much for that. More welcome. 913-590-303, if you will. Okay, let's go back up to and catch up a little bit this morning with your comments and chat as we head into the weekend of hot weather. Sent you a toilet roll picture. Well, thank you very much for that. Oh, Joyce. Yeah, I think I'll show Joyce's picture and not Chris's. That is a beauty. Fantastic. Deagle as well. Thank you. Thank you very much for that toilet roll holder. I'll share that when we do the Portugal quiz today because it's perfectly appropriate for that. Where do we get to in the comments? Oh, yeah, public transport in Portugal for Deagle and Castanheira de Pera for Pam before the water park was there. Okay. And Antonio F. talking to Deagle. The police, the PSP, arrested this month several taxi drivers in Lisbon for cheating passengers in the fare. TVDE, if you've ever wondered what that means in the back of a vehicle in the cities, those are your not your official taxis, not your green and blacks, but the other app-based ride services, the Ubers, the Bolts, for example. I think others are available. TVDEs are usually more trustworthy in that respect. Oh, okay. That's interesting. The Saharan, thank you very much for that, Antonio. The Saharan dust is good for the land, lots of good nutrients. Always an upside, isn't there, to most things in life? That's us intelligent folks can consider both sides of everything, can we not? Don't necessarily have to agree, but we can have minds big enough in which to entertain what a pain in the ass Saharan dust is, but how it's also good for the land too. Thank you very much, James. Pavement is Nazaré, and I hate the Saharan sand. It's so damaging to plants. Oh, hold on a minute. So is it good or is it bad? It's so damaging to plants as the iron is more accessible and poisons a huge number of crops. Oh, so good for some plants, not for others, perhaps. Carl. Yeah, no, they're not. As I said, naturists and nudists welcome. Exhibitionists, not so much, because it can be very distracting. And you might want to sit on a towel. I know it's your own house, do what you want in there, but that, I think, is the etiquette of the nudist and the person who likes to show up with no kit on. I saw something about the Netherlands. Oh, hold on. I think I missed a load of comments here. I'm scrolling back quickly here because there was some talk of gynecologists this morning, obviously. Star Trek, Next Generation. Oh, okay. Netherlands. Holland. Okay. All right. No. Still not back to the top of the comments. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated, but I'm struggling to find where I am. It's been a busy week, says Pam. So I've only dipped in and out of the show. No meetings until 12 today. So a bit calmer. It's been going through my mind. Just going to share this with you. How does this work, this timing for you? I'd like to do a little bit of a survey this morning with you. We start at 8:30, 8:31, 8:32 sometimes this week. Is this the ideal time? I know it's going to vary for everyone, but I just want to canvass a bit of opinion. Would it be better to have the Good Morning Portugal show from 8 to 9:30, or a shorter show, 8 to 9, or would it be 9 to 10? What would suit you best? Let me know, because I know a lot of people say, well, I'm out busy by 9 o'clock, got stuff to do. So would an earlier show be better? Does it not? I mean, are those people just making excuses and they're never going to watch the show, whatever time it's on? Let me know what you think on the timings there. Tulips are what you could bring back there, Mrs. T, if you're watching, for a nice bunch of tulips for Coach Turner. No, not wrong, says Matty. Holland is the name of two provinces within the Netherlands, that's Zuid-Holland and Noord-Holland. Hol in the Holland is low or deep, as in hole. Schiphol Airport is located in an old ship harbour in a ship hole, hence Schiphol. Ah, very good. But what should we call it? Are they two different things? Bon dia, Owen, from in case you missed that earlier on, from Antonio F. And more on Holland is one of the Netherlands. Okay, I believe a bit like England, Britain, or UK. País Baixos is Portuguese for the Netherlands, which is one of the pronunciations I really struggle with. It's not Feelgood Friday, is it? Baixos, Baixos. Yeah, I can understand. Say that. Try that at home. Okay. Well, thank you for all of that. Matty Matthias is here this morning. And Captain, name of Captain Enterprise, New Generation. Okay, it's called New Generation, that particular part of the franchise. Star Trek Next Generation. Oh, is it New Generation, Next Generation? Come on, you Trekkies. You should know better than I do. And month-end reports at ReFood for me this weekend. Pam, in case people don't know, what do ReFood do? It's a great charity that your association that you're involved with there. Can we have a link to that, please? And we still haven't had a recommendation for a nice place for 4 people to stay in Porto. Personal recommendations are always great. Do you have one for Porto? And a wine tour up there. We've got one wine tour recommendation from Rafe via Lonnie, but nothing yet on a nice place to stay in Porto. Morning, my friendly salty seaman. How are your inner chakras this morning? Which of us are you talking to there, Pete? My inner chakras are nice. And maybe this morning I was just a bit distracted reading that comment. Maybe you're just small, Carl. Well, I'd like to think average at 5'10", but and it's all relative, isn't it? Because the average height, I think that does make me quite tall in Portugal compared to average height here. Got the pool open and really looking forward to it, Big Tony. Yeah, you got some hot days coming your way. It was the genesis of that response there. Inner chakras are a bit worn on the outside this week. It's a seasonal thing. It sounds like you need a massage. Your chakras need a bit of a working over there. Don't bother breaking your neck looking up at me. I'll stoop down to your level. I mean, there's no need for stooping, is there? We've got eyes that swivel, some of us more than others, and necks that move. The stoop is quite an accentuated condition to be in. A bon dia to all. My first trip to Portugal since my accident beckons. Is this Dougie? Another milestone on the road to recovering my normality. Doug, forget it. You're never going to be normal, mate. Sorry if that comes as surprise news to you. It's not going to happen. But I see what you mean. Full fitness, we can aspire to, can't we? And Carl, apropos, size doesn't matter. It does, by the way. It's not the size of your boat that counts, but your motion in the ocean. Okay, Aviva Ocean Dweller is here. People always looking, stooping down. I'm 5'1" or 100, nearly 150. Yeah, I'd round that up, wouldn't you? If you're 154.94 centimeters, I'd be rounding that up to 155. Okay, I'm not going to read that one, Pete. Coach Turner, positive reinforcement is the best way to encourage people to improve. It's got to be, isn't it? These tellings off and making people wrong and undermining people, especially in early age, are the things that can shape a personality, and not always for the good, quite frankly, as I'm sure James and Aviva will agree. At least I bet you don't have as many holes in your scalp as many other sailors who continuously collide with the boom and everything else dangling down on a boat. Yeah, tall sailor syndrome. Is that what you would call that? Oh, dad joke alert from Chris. I should have issued the warning properly earlier on today. A lot have been sneaking in this morning. What starts... Hold on a minute. So what starts with F and ends with K? Me. No, it doesn't. I don't get that. I think it's funny, but I don't get it. Okay, not for height, but for posture. I imagine the sky. And I have to do this in a special GuMPer dust way. Okay, everybody, if you need a postural adjustment this morning, I'm going to give you some distant chiropractic with Reiki thrown in, infused into the mix. I imagine the sky, imagine if you will, then the sky gently pulling your head up to the sky as if to lovingly kiss the top of my head. You're welcome. Okay, thank you for that. My dance teacher, what? You've got a dance teacher? Oh, my dance teacher friend got told off by a physiotherapist for slouching. Yeah, a bit like the choir boy in the belfry. He got told off, didn't it? Okay. My dad sailed a fin and often came ashore with a bloodied head from an unintentional jib. My goodness, you know you've had a good day on the seas when you come back with a bloody head. Waving from Coimbra then this morning. And we didn't get to the bottom of that. Was that a Coimbrian picture? Coimbrians? That is Coimbra, isn't it? Come on. Please, somebody put me out of my misery, at least with that this morning. And thanks for all your pickies, Anna. Have a great weekend up there in central Portugal, the capital of central Portugal, of course. And whenever I mention the whistle tune, happy memories, Deagle. The whistle tune, loved it, starting and ending the shows. But there's progress. We move on. Last time I was in Lisbon, says Pam, I saw a group of students taking part in the Praja for new students. That's called, sometimes people call that the bullying, don't they? I think it's the initiation, isn't it, for new students? And that will be happening all over. I saw that in Aveiro. And that's the game that is played, Baccarat. Is that what have I got? Is it Baccarat? Bert Baccarat. What is the correct pronunciation for that, if you don't mind? I'm impressed that you're so adventurous. Yeah, and if you weren't here when we showed the map of ancient Marinaders' progress back here to the Iberian Peninsula, look at that. And from reading your blog, Ancient Mariner, I think some of those hearts are a bit misleading. Some of those should be angry emojis, shouldn't they not, on that journey down to the Iberian Peninsula, up and down that part of the world there. Yeah, we're all impressed, I think, by his nautical shenanigans. Okay. Oh, thank you, everyone, by the way, last night. The webinar was great. Spoke to Ben. Some people are part of the Ben Amrani fan club. He did a great job talking about moving currency. And, of course, if you want to buy euros at the moment, it's a good time to do it. I'm told, not advice. It's what I've heard on the grapevine. Good time to do so, buying euros if you're a dollar holder. Great webinar with Ben last night. And a really good, funny dream team last night. I got a pretty good bollocking off Gilda last night. Some people tune in just for that, to see Gilda's face when she talks to me about certain things. And she was quite disgusted with me. It's not about the drinking. It's not about becoming fitter. It was about not reading books. She wanted to start. Oh, yeah. If you want to be part of an Expats Portugal book club, I think we could do a joint venture, couldn't we? We could have Good Morning Portugal, Expats Portugal, and the Dream Team. A bit of a book club suggestion. So we might make the suggestion each week on the Dream Team session and then start a forum over on Expats Portugal and mention it here on the show as well. Oh, and talking of which, I would recommend this to the book club. I don't know if, I guess it's fiction, isn't it, that tends to be the chosen genre of a book club. But so we've got Jeremy Black joining us, I think, next Wednesday with Michael Heron. So a brief history of Portugal. I definitely recommend that to anyone, book club or not. And I'm listening to it on audiobook. It's my favorite way of listening. And bless him, Romain, who we met for the first time last night. I asked him, because I asked the whole Dream Team who the best poets would be to listen to, because I'd been writing about Floribela Espanca this last week, which of course always has people listen whenever you say her name. Yes, Floribela Espanca. And I was asking our Dream Team panel what or who people might listen to. And they gave us a Pessoa and not so much Luís de Camões. Pessoa seemed to be the most popular, and some other great recommendations of Portuguese writers as well. Romain said, I'm not much of a reader. The main reading I do is people's mortgage reports. Fair play to the bloke. I think he's a bit like me, more of a visual more of an auditory person than a visual person. But what a good idea. A book club, which Gilda will be firmly behind. And I imagine the Queen of the Visas will be wanting to choose the first book. So we'll kick that off perhaps next Thursday's Dream Team. Where were we? We were still in the comments in the chat, and we still haven't got round to toilet roll yet. We will, though, and I hope to work in a few more toilet roll toilet humor references before and while we're doing that. Antonio, talking about the Praja, in the beginning of the school year, Praja takes place in unis in Portugal, and it is the initiation, isn't it? The older students take the younger students under their wing, under their black capes. 2 days running talking about black capes. Oh, and thank you, Nubianette, for your video of Pete Murphy of Bauhaus talking of black capes. And here, yeah, everyone looks like Pete Murphy the first week of college. Well, for the whole year, in fact, here in Portugal in the universities. And the Praja is the initiation for students. I remember being in the Alentejo in September, and the mercury reached 40 degrees. Excuse me. I need another sip of water. What's the highest temperature you remember enjoying? And I use the term loosely here in Portugal. I don't think I've been in the 40s. Maybe in that first year when we were near Tamar in the terrible year of fires in 2017, it might have got to 40, but I prefer it high 20s and low 30s. Hold on a minute. Water. It can be as good as beer sometimes, can't it? But I'm looking forward to some beer tomorrow. Good morning, Portugal. If you're talking about Agada, it's the accent vowel. My best Portuguese language friend, the A is accented, therefore it's Agada. Thank you very much. Not Agueda or Agadar. Agada there. Thank you very much. And the A as in cafe. The last A as in cafe. Agada. Thank you very much there. And what's this? We need to borrow that beer tree on the logo to replace. Oh, yeah. What happened? To replace the felled sycamore, which was mindlessly felled on the Northumberland side of Hadrian's Wall. Yeah, so one of the hairy bikers really lost for words. I mean, managed to summon a few together to criticize that wanton act of vandalism. A tree of many centuries felled by chainsaw. How they did it, how they got away with it, I don't know. But there's some hand wringing going on up there. And I think it's part of this disrespect of trees that seems to be led by a few councils in the UK. Let's keep it in Portugal, folks. Castanheira de Pera, first place that Pam went to. Yeah, and we've not had any information about the water park just yet because I got mixed up. In my chat this morning. Thank you very much. Yes, we've not had anyone yet joining us, naked or not, behind the scenes. You'll be the first to know if they do. Hola, bon dia. Yes, could we have our... Actually, it won't be our first naturist because I was naked for one of the episodes. Was anyone here back in those days when we had the Good Morning Portugal show and we invited Boaz on because he was doing a workshop called Naked in the Algarve. And I thought, okay, this guy's coming on to talk about, nakedness, vulnerability, transparency. I'll get my kit off and I'll sit naked and do the show. And he turned up fully with his kit on. And I had to sit there for the rest of the show with nothing on. Difference between a naturist and an exhibitionist. It's all down to the angle of dangle. Thank you. The AOD. Hashtag AOD. Thank you very much. And Pam took the picture of the pavement because it was a novelty. Yeah, well, that's true. You don't often see the streets of Nazaré that empty. That's got to be a winter thing, isn't it? Although the sunshine... It looks like it could have been a nice spring or even summer day there in Nazaré. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not going to see it in that condition very often. So quite the novelty there. And the squiggly calçadas of Nazaré there. I'm proud. What's this? I'm proud to have got that pavement question right. Yeah, well done, Doug. And your GMP show timing is spot on for Doug. Okay. Present timing is great for Antonio as well. And current time works for me. And I'm liking the more defined ending time. Okay, 7:30 to 9:30, 2 hours time slot to waking up to start the morning. Thank you for that. And I usually listen to the show while we're getting ready to go out, having breakfast, etc. But my schedule is pretty variable. Thanks for all that feedback. Appreciate that. And haha, you're right about my lack of normal. Well said. It's true, isn't it? I knew you wouldn't take that the wrong way. And Pamela, here we go. The pronunciation of Bajosh sounds like Bajosh. Thank you very much for that. Boshelosh. what? Bushekash. I don't know if I've got that right. That I don't know if that's just a criticism of the show this morning. Oh no, here we go. It is. I gave Sidonio and Luisa a good chuckle yesterday with my pronunciation of cheeks in Portuguese. I used hard chuz instead of like charge instead of soft chuz like shuz. So I think it is bosheshash. Is that's a nice word to say, isn't it? Bosheshash. Let me give you a beijino on the bosheshash. Hopefully that does mean cheeks of the face and not the buttocks. The time slot is good for Jean as well, perhaps a half hour earlier. Okay, points being, or notes, mental notes being made. Deagle is right. Your whistle tune was so iconic. I walked along the promenade in Lagos one morning and a chap was whistling in it. How about that? And Bosheshash was my Monte Gordo moment. Monte Gordo in Porto. Live from Porto, it's Monte Gordo. Have you read about the British plumber from Hertfordshire? What's this? Who stabbed someone to death in the woods of Pedrogo Grande? And that went back to the commune, of course, and admitted what he had done. No, I didn't know about that. Pete, you're full of full of good cheer this morning. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it sounds like a Cluedo solution. No, I think sadly it's a true story. Top tip from Pete. Avoid going to the Mad Hatter's tea gathering in Pedrogo Grande. Not a fan of the communities. They're not all bad, Pete. No need to be communitiesist. I know there are some bad apples that are spoiling it for everyone else, but not just because people gather together in one place and explore different ways of life doesn't necessarily make them mad or bad, does it? Sometimes they are, admittedly. But then again, there's a lot of mad and bad people in the cult called normality, right? I was in a book club reading Portuguese books. Really improves your vocabulary. I don't have time at the moment, unfortunately. Okay, fair enough. Not for you at the moment. Ancient Mariner, it gets even better. What's this? Okay, I'm not going to read that out because I don't understand what it is. I don't want to get myself into any trouble. My doctor went weird on me and told me Mercury was in Uranus. You sure that's your doctor and not my wife, Ancient Mariner? I explained that I wasn't into astrology and wanted proper medical treatment, but what he meant was that the thermometer had snapped. Dear, oh dear. At that point, you have to kind of shut down the medical facility, don't you, and call in a team of, like those asbestos clearance people. I imagine that's quite the lucrative protocol, removing broken thermometers from various parts of the body. Da, push pineapple, shake a tree. Yes, very good, Doug. Thank you for that. I sent a photo back in the day for Naked Gardening. Was that you, Owen? Can you find it? I think that's the closest we're going to get to some nakedness on the show this morning. Still got the toilet roll quiz question to do. Oh, and some things to do this weekend, thanks to Andy as well. And a video from Andy. Communes are funny here. They come and go like the wind, and they always end up bickering, especially the lesbian ones. Well, Pete, I think it's a typical case of you only probably hear about the ones that come to people's attention because of the things they do. I think there are many happy communities here in Portugal. Yes, more news on that if you want to read it in the chat about the darker goings on of community life in Portugal. I don't at the moment. Thanks. I haven't actually been back to Castanheira de Pera since the water park opened, but I want to. It looks great. You're going to join us at the beer fest tomorrow. Pam, why not come over? Nazare Pick was only yesterday. Very good. Folks, hit that like button and Bushishush. And am I saying that right? Is one of my favorite words. We're all caught up in the chat. Yay, me. Well done. And Doug did call in. So I'm going to ring Doug back after we've heard from Andy. Stand by, Doug. I'm going to give you a bell and bring you on the show for a minute. Here is a little bit of a walk and talk from Andy, and we'll go into his tips for the weekend in the Bairrada after. So Bairrandi is on a Bairamble here, and we'll be talking about what's going on this weekend in Bairrada soon, thanks to him and the GuMPer map.
Here we are, look, another little secret path going through the woods here, going around the back of Mamarosa, really. Here we are, we can tell not many people get down here. This is kebab. It does brings us out at like a little stream, which hopefully won't be too streamy, and that I can jump across. Oh crikey! Wow, I haven't been down here for a while, have I? Mando. Here we are. Look at that. It's a little bit of a walk and talk from Andy. Andy is on a Bairamble here, and we'll be talking about what's going on this weekend in Bairrada after. So Bairrandi is on a Bairamble here, and we'll be talking about what's going on this weekend in Bairrada soon, thanks to him and the GuMPer map.
Here we are. Look, another little secret path going through the woods here, going around the back of Mamarosa, really.
through there or through there. Maybe through here a bit. So that's where we want to get to, across into there. Caramba. Hey, it's good fun, isn't it? And now then we're getting, crikey. Let's have a look at all this wood. So we get ourselves round there somehow. Let me see. And there's the little stream down there. You can get up. Whoops, a daisy. You can get up through here. Ah, that's opened up a little bit now. At least we can see where we are. I think it was somewhere here or maybe further along. Maybe further along. Oh yeah, you can see that it's been trodden a bit. Ah, wow. I don't know though. It's a very steep bank. What's that there? That's got some things to hang on to at least. So onto that. Get ourselves down this bank if we can. Oops, a daisy. There's another little branch of a tree. Ay, caramba. Ay, carita. Now we get past this branch here onto the one river bank and jump across to the other. And there we are. Now we just got, oh, there's another little one on the other side I remember now. Okay. Good, this bushwhacking, isn't it? Right then. I'll leave you to it. I'm going to try and tackle this now. Ciao, ciao.
He's a brave man, isn't he? He's like David Attenborough. And any minute I was expecting him to be sat down there covered in wild boar, having tamed a family of wild boar, like that famous Attenborough moment when he's with the gorillas. Shorts on as well, Andy. He's not afraid, is he, of snakes, of spiders, of what are they called? Not crabs. Ticks attaching themselves. Did he have shorts on there? He's a crazy guy, isn't he? And I'm clearly not the only one the person who says shish kebab. Nice to hear that, Andy. That's amazing. We'll come back. We'll finish the show with your serving suggestions for the bairrada. You also sent in some amazing pictures. Corn shucks here. Oh, this is the first picture I should have shown. These are corn husks, shucks over somebody's driveway. It's the time of year, of course, for creating the animal feed. And there they are spread out on a driveway. Is that when they've been sort of threshed and taken off the cob, or do the animals eat the whole thing? But that's what's going on if you walk around central Portugal, central to North Portugal at the moment in the Bairrada district. You're likely to see something like that. Amazing. Another picture competition coming in. Where is this? Thank you very much to you, Dougie, for that one. And this was a beautiful picture that was sent in from Joyce as well. That is a beauty. And I've got more video to play from that part of the country. That is, I'm guessing that's Costa de Caparica late at night, the fishermen coming in. That's a beauty, Joyce. Thank you very much for that. Let's give Dougie a bell, shall we, and see if he's on the other end of the line here. I had to turn off WhatsApp because it was quite a demand on the processing power. Let's see if we can get Dougie on the line now and see if what he wanted to say to us. It's ringing. Douglas, are you there? Oh, he's muted. Has he muted himself? I wonder. Have you muted yourself there, Doug? You just putting your clothes on. You don't have to worry about being naked, Doug. It's because this is just on the phone, mate.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Good morning to you, fully clothed or not. How are you? What is it you wanted to tell us this morning?
Oh, I'm just ringing in to say a general hello. It's been a while. And how brave is that Andy with his ramble?
Yeah,
wow.
Yes.
That was quite a walk.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of us wouldn't go in there. Did he have shorts on? Did I see that correctly?
I think he might have done. I'll tell you what he has got. He's got scratched legs now, hasn't he?
I imagine so. Bit of bramble in there, and that's going to hurt. But the Intrepid, we'll get another walk from him on Monday. So tell us, Doug, how are you doing? This is a good moment for a few people here, a few GuMPers to catch up with you. And we were appalled to hear of your horrible accident a few months ago, and delighted to see that you made a pretty good recovery soon after, and that recovery is continuing, is it?
Yeah, well, when it first happened, I had no idea how long it was going to take for me to be up and about again. Some people said it would be 6 months or even a year or possibly even more, but it happened the end of April, and I'm pretty mobile now. I'm driving again and stuff like that. So yeah, I've regained the majority of my my mobility, enough so that I've been. Well, I've booked myself a trip to Portugal later on next month. So and it'll be a trip that I'm doing on my own. So yeah.
Well done, Doug. So glad to hear that. So a man who has been deprived of travel, who loves to travel, coming back to Portugal, where's the first place you go to refamiliarize and reacquaint yourself with this country?
Well, my beloved Algarve. I'm gonna be staying. To begin with, I'm going to be staying in Corteira / Villamora, because the hotel I'm using is sort of in between those two places, so you can easily access both sides, if you like. If you know that area, you'll know that Villamora and Corteira kind of run into each other, don't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Also going to be staying near Zagreb, another place I love very much. And also, I've got a few days booked in Silvers.
Oh, good
so,
for you.
I'm Silvers. It's beautiful there.
A pretty good tour then, Doug. Can you stay on the line? Yeah, great news, Doug. Great news. And looking forward to having you back in the country and seeing you soon, I hope, one way or another. I'm just trying to make a banner to say that you're on the screen, because I want you to stay with me, if you will. And
no worries,
because we've got the Portuguese quiz question coming up now, and I think you might have a view on this. So here we have, in case you're wondering who this is, live by WhatsApp, Douglas Hughes. It wasn't meant to be a ticker tape. Hold on a minute, let's just get this right. Scroll. You don't want to be scrolled across the bottom, do you?
Oh, first thing in the morning, anything goes.
Right, okay. So he's not being scrolled across the bottom anymore. He is, you can see we have Doug live by WhatsApp, and I'm going to bring the Portugal quiz question of the day onto the screen. It's a good one, and we've Andy to thank, who we just saw. Roll on the weekend. Despite having possibly the greatest volume of B-days per capita, we understand the average Portuguese person uses more toilet paper than any other nationality over their lifetime. But just how much TP, as some people call it, do they use approximately? So we're rounding it up here, so to speak. And I wonder who had the job of measuring this. Who were these people who did this research?
Oh my God.
But Doug, is it 64.5 miles of toilet paper in a Portuguese lifetime? Is it 645, or is it 6,450? And of course, we've got the eucalyptus and pine to make it here in Portugal. What's your guess?
Oh, I'm going to go for the lower one. It would have to be surely 6. Give me the other. Did you say 6,000? What was the lower one?
I will give you the numbers again as we look at the fantastic gifts that are on the screen. Is that Tom Selleck in the lavatory there, I wonder? So the choices are 64.5 miles, 645 miles, or 6,450 miles of toilet paper used by your average Portuguese person over their lifetime.
I'm going to go for the lower quota.
64.5. Just like toilet paper should be, I'm going to leave it hanging there. Do you have? What's your preference, to have it hanging out with the long bit at the front or the back? It's got to be like a quiff and not a mullet, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I haven't really gone into. I'm not one of these hyacinth bouquet types who've got like a sort of tea caddy over my toilet roll, and it has to be arranged in a certain way. But it just goes on the holder, I think.
But as someone who stays in hotels and likes hotels, presumably you like a little bit of origami on the toilet roll as you go and use it for the first time.
They do that in some places, don't they? It's quite bizarre. Yeah, it's the other hotels. They sort of just leave them strewn around the bathroom willy nilly, and or put them on the toilet brush. So
the many ways of sharing toilet paper. And I made mention to the bidet there, and that's what I find interesting about this is Portugal is a great supporter user of the bidet device invention. So you'd think they might not use as much toilet paper as other countries, for example. I don't. Maybe is this too indelicate and personal question to ask? But have you, as a regular and long-standing visitor, or in this case, sitting visitor to Portugal, have you got into the habit of the bidet?
I don't want anybody to have to picture it, so I'm going to keep that one private.
Okay, Ancient Mariner's guess is 6,450 sheets of Isle. You can't sniff at that. Hopefully, it's not Isle. I think the bidet.
You can't sniff at it.
I think the bidet is dying out. Depends where you go. Oh, I look at this. Point of order, Chairman. I'd need to know it in kilometres. Well, it's just 5/8, isn't it? That's how you work it out.
How very European.
Yes, absolutely. And that's Pam. Probably 6,450 miles due to the poor quality. Oh, a little bit of a dig sewn into the comment here. Due to the poor quality, oldie roll tearing when just looking at it. Carl, take that Portuguese use of the comma to separate the units from decimals, like 1.5 kilos, not for thousands. Oh, take notice that Portuguese use the comma to separate units from the decimals, like 1.5. Thank you, or 1,5. Thank you very much for that. Well navigated, Doug, says Squire of the Shires. Morning to you, Squire. And any views on toilet etiquette? I tried using a toilet brush for a while, but went back to using paper in the end.
Oh, ouch.
Yes, and glad you're doing better, Doug, is the message from Pam as well. Yeah, we really
so
are,
much.
Doug. It's great to hear you. You sound back on fine form and maybe ready to join us on the show again. I mean, you'll join us this morning, but perhaps joining us again when you're in Portugal, sending us a few of those 2-minute tasters. I'm so pleased.
I look forward to it. It'll be marvelous to do them. And maybe I'll get back in touch with you, Carl, and organise to come on screen when I'm wherever I am. I'll join you from the Algarve.
Fantastic, Doug, and bon fin semana to you. What is that in Welsh?
A what?
What is a bon fin semana? Good weekend to you. How would you say that in Welsh?
Oh, Penwyth nos da.
Penwyth nos da. Okay, fantastic. Nos da.
Penwyth nos da.
Yeah.
Everything's da. It's dear, da. Isn't that funny? Dear and da quite similar, aren't they?
Agada. Da. Okay, cheers, nos da. Cariad. I will see you soon and have a great weekend, Doug. Thanks for calling in.
Cheers for now.
Mate. All right, bye for now. There he goes. Douglas Hughes, everybody, live from Wales, and brilliant that he's made a fantastic recovery there. Anyone remember the Blair Witch Project? Yeah, that was a bit like Andy's trip into the woods there, and tree hugging or naked tree hugging. I'm sorry I started that rumor about Garvo. It's not true. However, and it doesn't appear to be true for Andy unless he put his clothes on specifically for that video, adds a whole new meaning to the phrase woodpecker. And that was a comment I was sad not to get to yesterday. We had a Portuguese person, judging by their name on the screen yesterday, who told us that pica-pau meant woodpecker, of course, as well as the delightful snack that you can order to go along with the beer that we might be having tomorrow. What else have I got to share with you? I think I've covered most things. We'll come back to Andy's recommendations for the weekend. We still got this to answer. Where is that in Portugal? From James. That beautiful picture from Joyce. James Joyce. Funny how these things work out, isn't it? And I think I've shared most things with you. Yes, what we didn't get to, and Suze isn't here this morning, and nor is Mr. S, but they were talking about Finland and Sweden. That's the border, apparently, right there, and that's what Suze wanted Mr. S to see, and we'll go again with the famous toilet to Frankfurt, given that our quiz question has been about toilet paper. And it's hanging around the wrong way in that picture. This hasn't got a cup holder on it that that Suze was going to be buying. But I can see a commode being added to that device as well, just to keep us in on point and on topic this morning. Okay. And Jean, this is what I was going to share from you yesterday. Oh, yeah, it was a Scandinavian themed restaurant, wasn't it? Now I remember why. So in Jean's neck of the woods in the Algarve, you've got the Restaurant Escandavia, the Green Spirit vegetarian restaurant where you can rent a bike. That looks like a great fun place to go. And by contrast, a butcher in the same town, I'm taking it, with a bicycle outside and one of those fantastic full-size figures, a butcher with cleaver in hand, and he's still got a mask on, unless that, or some say masks are coming back. So it was either taken a while ago, or they never took it off, or they are ahead of the suspected return by some. I hope not, quite frankly. But that might be a talisman heralding the return of the mask, maybe down there in the Algarve. And a butcher, Talio, that seems to be specializing in duck as well. Thank you very much for those, Jean. I've got a little bit more video to show you. This is a little preview from the weekend we just had. The Englishman, the Irishman, and X walk into a bar. We did some wonderful filming last weekend. We'll be filming again in Tamar in October, and of course, when we were in my hometown in November. And this is a wonderful preview. We finished the weekend at Fontainebleau Beach, and this was some of the video that Andy put together by way of a little preview for us. So let me roll that VT for you now. Take off that banner there and share this with you as we go into the weekend. So let's hope we have some beautiful days like these, another weekend like this at the Beer Festival tomorrow, and I think an easygoing, leisurely Sunday for me. This is what I was up to last Sunday. Thank you very much, Andy. That was beautiful. What a lovely memory of the weekend we had last weekend. Another one in the pipeline with fantastic weather on its way. Which lager are you having tomorrow? Beryl? No, I'm not. That's actually, forgot to say on Monday, we're having ginger and aguardente. Now, different brands are available. And that reminds me, I must make the slide for that. This coming Monday, it always catches me by surprise, and then we have a really good time. First Monday of the month is the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, and we've been going off piste and away from wines. We had gin last time, and we'll be having ginger and aguardente mixed together. What could possibly go wrong this coming Monday? Different brands of both are available, so grab yourself a ginger. You might already have some. These are the drinks that people have already often in their drinks cabinet. A ginger for that special moment where you fancy a cherry liqueur, and an aguardente, the firewater of Portugal, of course. And I think we're mixing it together, and we'll have some expert guidance, no doubt, from Ben on that. Ben Austin, who is our co-host in Tamar next month. And I imagine, Ben will be showing us how to mix that up in various ways. So join us Monday evening for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club, turning into the Wine and Spirits Club for a mixture of ginger and aguardente. Thank you very much, Antonio, for this bit of insight into 1 million. So we don't need the commas in there when we're doing it Portuguese style. And who doesn't like to do it Portuguese style first thing in the morning? Muito bom dia, Carl. Related to your visit to Tomar. Thank you, Orico, for your email with the films. Thank you so much. I'll make sure they go into the GMP VIP. City of Templars. I would like to introduce you to another reference from this city, the rock band Quinta do Bil. I have not heard of them, but thank you for that tip there. Appreciate that. Eliane, saw you last weekend, didn't we? Met you for the first time. Bon dia, Alegria. Happy Friday all and good weekend. Great to see you here, Elian. Best regards to your dad. It's lovely to meet him. Quinta de Bil is a very original sound, and which we really appreciate here. And you can easily associate these sounds with the city's Templar heritage. Okay, I think I need to screenshot that so I don't forget. Quinta do Bil. Thank you very much. Maybe some people can get ahead of that and perhaps share it on the screen for us, a Spotify link maybe. A Quinta de Bil, a Tomás folk rock band created in 1987. That's definitely worth a look, isn't it? And maybe for one of my, as Sarah was suggesting, one of my try something Portugueses might be to have a listen to one of their tracks first thing in the morning here. Ginger in a chocolate cup with a bit of aguardente. I imagine the aguardente would burn through the chocolate cup. You'd have to do that quickly. Ginger or ginginha, it's said in different ways, isn't it? Thank you very much for that. And which are the best bars in Tomar? Are you joining us, Darren? Are you going to come and join us on the 14th and 15th? Find out more details on our website, goodmorningportugal.com. Okay, let's head to the Bairrada. We've got lots to do before we end up in Tomar. Beer Fest tomorrow. Schist and Barrel next Friday. Lots going on. Wine Club on Monday. I think I might go out with the Wine Club intro just to get that etched in your memory to join us on Monday. Yes, events coming up. You can find these on the GuMPer map. Here's a little selection for you. Oh, the date for your diary for sure. I was going to share with you a Portugal resident article where the headline was something along the lines of the housing boom and crisis, boom and crisis showing no sign of letting up. We'll certainly address this on Tuesday's webinar. It's a Portugal Club presentation this coming Tuesday at 8 o'clock. If you go to goodmorningportugal.com, you can register for that. Your questions answered, your concerns addressed. Antonio Barbosa will be there, bit of Tony time on a Tuesday evening. Carl Hyde will be there. Veronica will be there. Savika Anna may join us. Vitor Costa will join us. And Sarah from Spartan Effects will be joining us as well. So a star-studded lineup for the expert panel webinar. Getting real on Portuguese real estate. That's this coming Tuesday at 8. Register. It'll be a webinar. It'll be streaming live from the homepage of goodmorningportugal.com. I'm glad I remembered to share that with you. Let's go to some of the events that are coming up in the Bairrada. Free golf. Look at that this weekend. Free golf at Cantanhede. If you've been wanting to get into golf here in Portugal and you haven't done that yet, check out this super pitch and putt style golf course in the well-appointed town of Cantanhede. A great excuse to check out this hidden gem of a town with loads of amenities and things to do. Check out the points of interest on the GuMPer map. You'll also find that at goodmorningportugal.com. And free dancing afternoons, the Asociação Humanitária de Bombeiros Voluntários de Queluz, Lisboa. Dancing sessions for everyone for free. And that'll be between 3 and 6. What is that? Oh, on the 30th of September. That's tomorrow then. The 28th of October and 25 Novembro as well, with leaders including Duo Manuelito, Carla Carapeto, and Zé Manel Duo, the Zé Manel Duo. All balls take place between... Oh, these are balls. So, I mean, we do like to hold balls here, don't we, in Portugal? And there are some for you. Find them on the GuMPer map. Traditional party and folklore in Mamarosa. Our traditional parade returns to the streets of Mamarosa for an evening filled with tradition, party, and folklore. That'll be tomorrow as well. A couple more for you before we say goodbye this morning and wish you a bon fin de semana. Party and food in Marval, Cantanhede, the Bar de Santome. Come along and have a lovely afternoon in the quaint village of Marval, north of Coimbra, in the beautiful Bairradian countryside. And finally, free guided watermill, walk or run in Águeda de Cima, Águeda, the aforementioned short route departing at the leisure park, the Parque do Lazer de Sabugueiro, Águeda de Cima. Oh, so a little bit out of town. There's a run of 11 kilometers and a walk of 7, especially for you, Pam, in kilometers there. Difficulty, low to medium, a nature walk and run there. So many wonderful things happening just in Bairrada. You will not be running across the countryside and finding Andy bushwhacking, so to speak. That's another pic that he sent of the beautiful heather that is occurring, of course, at this time of year in the Bairradian countryside and all over Portugal. You've been amazing this morning. I think we got everything done that we intended to do. We haven't found anyone in the accommodation in Porto yet. That's not Porto. I do believe that's Coimbra with a beautiful full moon behind the Coimbrian landscape there. Thank you so much for your pictures, everybody. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Deagle. as well for this gem. And we'll answer this on Monday. Where is this? I think you'll probably have a pretty good idea. James can reveal that for himself on Monday. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play that to a lovely a video that Andy put together again, but not until after we've seen the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club intro as well, which has the whistling. Deagle, you wanted the whistling. We'll play the whistling, and I wish you a very happy weekend. So the whistling theme tune, and an Englishman and an Irishman walk onto a beautiful beach in Portugal and enjoy the sunset thereafter. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you very much, and ciao for now.